Hi, fifth grade friends. Today we are going to talk about partial quotients division. This is actually a concept that we have covered for both days of our in-person learning this past week. So here's just a refresher video on how to do this division. Again, this is something that you should have talked about in fourth grade, so hopefully it is just a review at this point. One of the first things we need to remember are some of our vocabulary terms. Division vocabulary can be quite complex because a lot of the words are very similar to each other. So the first word we have is dividend. Remember, dividend is the large number that gets divided. We then have divisor, the number that it gets divided into, and then we have the quotient, which is our answer. So this partial quotients method and algorithm works no matter what kind of numbers you have. So Mrs. Beaver has some cards here, and I've just randomly picked them out, and so we are going to create the number 894. That's going to be our dividend. The first thing that you do in partial quotients division is you write the problem in traditional form. So I'm going to put my dividend underneath the hat, 894. And then I'm going to divide it by 14. 14 is going to be my divisor. So this is going to be our division problem. Then you are going to draw a vertical line to the right of the problem. On this side of the line is where your partial quotients will be. Then you are going to choose an easy multiple of your divisor. So that's a number that this 14, when you multiply it, goes into that number. So it's going to be easy. Mrs. Bieber is going to start with 10 because I know that 10 times 14 is 140, and I also know that 140 goes into this dividend easily. 140. So I'm going to start with 10. And I'm going to write that partial or that multiple, I'm going to write that number over here to the right-hand side. And I'm going to then write that multiple below my dividend. So 10 times 14, remember, is 140. So I'm going to write that below my dividend, and I'm going to subtract 754. Now, that was a really small number. 140 in comparison to 894 is pretty small, and it would take me a very long time to do all of that math. So I'm going to actually up this partial quotient, and I'm going to say instead of 10, this time I'm going to do 20, because 20, again, is still pretty easy for me to remember or for me to be able to do the math with. So I'm going to write 20 now. And now I am going to multiply 14 by 20. And remember, I can do our extended multiplication facts. So I can multiply 14 by 2. 14 times 2, oh, that's 28. 14 plus 14, 28. And I have 1 0 here on the 20, so I know that 20 times 14 is 280. So again, I'm going to subtract that multiple from this number here, and I'm just going to do that subtraction like I normally would. 15 minus 8 is 7, 6 minus 2 is 4, so I have 474. Now, I see that 280 can go into 474 again, so I'm going to use 20 again. And I'm going to subtract 280, just like normal. And I notice that I cannot put another group of 20 in 194. That's not going to work. But I can put another group of 10 into 194 down here. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to write 10 to the side, and I'm then going to put the multiple underneath my divisor. Underneath my dividend, and I'm going to subtract. Now, I have 54, and 14 can go into 54. I know 14 can go into 54 at least 2 times. Again, take easy numbers. Make this easy on yourself. So I'm going to put a 2 over here. Remember, 2 times 14 is 28. So I'm going to subtract, and I'm getting a little hairy because I'm running out of space here, but that's okay. Again, subtract like normal. 14 minus 8 is 6. 26. Oh, look, I know that 14 can go into 26 one more time. So I'm going to subtract 14 from that 26, and I'm going to get 12. Then I need to ask myself, can 14 go into 12 evenly? Or can 14 go into 12 at all? No. So 12 I'm going to circle as my remainder. Now 12 isn't my answer. 12 is how many I have left over. My answer is going to come when I add all of these partial quotients up. So 10 plus 20 is 30, plus 20 is 50, plus 10 is 60, plus 2, 62, plus 1 is 63. So my answer, my quotient, is actually going to be 63 remainder 12. Okay, 63 remainder 12. Now, at this point, you can stop this video and you can do the activities, or I'm going to do another problem as an example here so that you can kind of see another example of partial quotients, just because it can be a little bit tricky of an idea. And this time, I'm going to have a divisor of 12 instead of 14. And I'm going to switch up my numbers, and I'm going to do 489. So my problem is going to be 489 divided by 12. This. So step number 1 is to write your problem traditionally, like you normally do. So I'm going to have 489 divided by 12. It's going to look like this. Then I'm going to draw a vertical line to the right so that I can keep my partial quotients over here on this side. I'm then going to say to myself, what is an easy number that I can multiply 12 by that will get me an answer less than 489? I know that 12 times 10 is 120. I also know that 12 times 20 is 240 because 12 times 2 is 24. So 12 times 20 is going to be 240. And that's a bigger number. That will give me a bigger chunk than 10. So I'm going to write 20 over here to the side. Multiply 20 times 12, and that's 240. And I'm going to subtract 240 from 800 or 489. So again, normal subtraction. I then have 249 left over. I notice that 240 can actually go into 249 again. So I'm going to write my 20 over here because 12 goes into 249, can go into it 20 times. 20 times 12 again, 240. And this time I only have 9 left over. I can ask myself, does 12 go into 9? No. So 9 becomes my remainder. Then I need to add my partial quotients together. 20 plus 20 is 40. So my answer is going to be 40 remainder 9. That is going to be my answer. This one was a little bit easier. Hopefully you have a better understanding of this now and you can apply it to your activities.